MOYA MOYA, right? We are out at the Department of Justice. I know you can't see me today, but we had to have a right of reply for the episode 42. I'm hoping you guys have gone back to check it out. We're at the Department of Justice. We're going to understand a few things and understand why the Department of Justice asked for a right of reply. Molweni, my elders, thank you so much for agreeing to come through. Maybe we start this side. Please introduce it and yes,
Molo sisi.
anyway.
Mr. Jozana. I'm from the Master of the High Court. I'm the head of the Master of the High Court, Mthatha.
Oh, okay. And I remember you were mentioned by name actually in the last episode.
Yes, I was mentioned.
Okay, fine. And then Ntate Kambo?
Thank you, is it Ntseki?
Yes.
Thank you, Ntseki, for inviting us. My name is Walter Mulaudzi, Master of High Court, Polokwane. We are here as per the presentation that was made in episode 42. And as you rightfully indicated, the department had then requested the right to reply. And I think part of me says, when we are here, we need to educate South Africans. We need to educate the people of South Africa on the role of the master, what we do in the master's office, from the Genesis to Revelation, so that South African would have a better understanding of the master's office. We all know that some of the people might not know what we do in the master's office. I think the platform that you have provided for us, it would assist an ordinary man in the street to know the role of the master. Thank you.
And Vele, what is the role of the master?
Maybe I need to start here and say the master is under the leadership of the chief master, who in terms of section 2.1 of the Administration of Estate Act, superintendent the entire master's office. I think we currently have 16 offices across the country. And she is responsible for all the offices. And one of the role of the chief master currently is under the leadership of the acting chief master, Ms. Pillay. She supervises all the offices. She's the head of the branch. We have got 5 core functions in the master's office. The first function is the deceased estates. And I think that is the main core function, because each and every one of us would someday die. And when we die, then would end up in the master's office. Upon death, a person in possession of a document purporting to be a will, or any document that might be assumed to be a will, must run to the master's office to report the estate of the deceased person. If it's an interstate matter, there are certain documents that a person would be expected to produce in the master's office. Like, for instance, there's a form called the death notice, which would then be completed by the person reporting the estate or whoever having an interest. And that death notice must be accompanied by a death certificate of the deceased. If the deceased is survived by the wife, then there would be a marriage certificate. And there is a form called next of kin affidavit that would then need to be completed by the person reporting the estate. That form is completed under oath. It would list the people related to the deceased. There's a section that the wife would complete, and there's also a section that the children of the deceased would be completed. And there's a form, again, that needs to be completed to confirm whether the deceased was having debts that the family might be aware of. If there are any, they would complete that form. And we also have the form called the inventory, which would then list all the assets of the deceased. Depending on the value, the master would then make an appointment. If the value is over 250,000, the master would issue what we call letters of executorship. If the value is below 250,000, then would issue what we call letters of authority. The difference between the two, in the letter of executorship, the full administration of estate must take course. There would be an advertisement in terms of Section 29 to inform members of the public who might be indebted to the deceased or whom the deceased was owing to come forward and report. And when we issue the letter, we normally give you a period of 6 months to lodge what we call liquidation and distribution account. It's quite a lengthy process, depending on the complexity of the matter. Sometimes it might even take a year. And in the matter where the value is under 250, we issue letter of authority. The letter of authority, when it's issued, we expect the person reporting the estate to also submit the proof of assets so that the master can then determine the value, or the master can list all the assets when the letter is issued. And we normally appoint master's representative. Maybe the question would be, what happens when there's no marriage certificate and somebody alleges that I was married to the deceased? Back in the days, there was the master had delegated the powers to the court managers to sign certain appointment letters. And in those days, when the person who alleges that he or she is married, the magistrate court would then convene a meeting and complete a form called an MBU 16, wherein the people who were part of the negotiation processes would be invited and confirm that indeed Ntsiki was married to so and so. And then there would be a confirmation. And then that confirmation would then be sent to the master, and then the master would make an appointment on the basis of the information that the master had received. I'm not sure, Ntsiki, if you would want us to explain the second core function of the master, because I had actually indicated that we have got 5 core functions in the master's office.
You know what I want to do? I want us, because we will keep having episodes with the Department of Justice so that we can actually educate people, because the big thing is that people on the ground don't understand the law. You find yourself in something and then you don't know the processes to do, you know. I'm thinking even for myself, when I was in trouble, that I don't know where you go or what. So there is a gap between the Department of Justice and the information for people on the ground. And I think it is important. People should know. I'm going to ask Dr. Josana again to maybe unpack some more so that we understand what is a master. Because at the moment we understand, okay, we know the one function. And as we say, we're going to do other episodes. But what is the master of the High Court? When people say that to us, what do they actually mean? Who is that? And what is their function? Dr. Josana.
Thank you very much, Sister Ntsiki. I can say the Master of the High Court is an office that deals with deceased estates, curatorship estates, registration of trusts, guardians fund. Have I forgotten anything? It's deceased estates, trusts, curatorship estates, insolvencies, and Guardians Fund, administration of Guardians Fund. Regarding the deceased estates, it's with regard to matters where people go and report deaths. And then, as Mr. Mlaudzev mentioned, there are documents that need to be completed, like the death notice, death certificate, marriage certificate, and then we issue letters of authority, letters of executorship, depending on the value of the estate. Then there's something that is very important. Sometimes a person leaves a will, and then those estates devolve in testate. And then there are issues where the person doesn't leave a will, and then the estate devolves intestate. And then there's a manner in which an estate devolves where there's no will. For instance, the spouse, if there's a spouse, will be the first preference. And then there will be children who have got interest. And then it goes forward like that. And then where there's a will, it's easy. The person mentions how the estate should devolve. The deceased person mentions who should inherit, what should happen, like if you want to be buried somewhere or you want to be cremated, things like that. And then there is what is also important. We work with stakeholders like Home Affairs, attorneys, legal aid. There are instances where a person dies leaving minor children, and then we have to refer the matters to legal aid because children are vulnerable and their interests have to be protected. So there are matters where matters have to be taken to attorneys. In fact, they act as agents, banks, insurance companies also assist. It's where maybe now the estate is over 250,000, and then letters of executorship, an executor is appointed, and then there are processes that are followed until the estate has been finalized. So the emphasis is, in cases, for instance, we get a lot of complaints from people who are not happy, and then we try to resolve those issues. And then the other issue, some people will complain and then allege some fraud maybe. Then there are institutions like the police and then the public protector where people can go and report fraud. I want to just make an example. We are linked with Home Affairs. If a person comes to report an estate, we are able to detect whether the person was married or not, whether the person left behind children or not. We don't register marriages. We don't register deaths. We don't issue birth certificate. They are issued by Home Affairs, which is our biggest stakeholder. And then, as I said, we are also working with attorneys, we are working with banks, we are working with legal aid. Yes.
So the reason that you guys asked us to come, and what is it about the episode and what was said in the episode that is problematic?
Nziki, maybe we need to emphasize the fact that the master is a creature of statutes, and the master is the office of record. In that episode, there are quite a number of factual incorrect information that we alleged. There is an allegation about the head of the branch being corrupt, Ms. Pillay, and the master of High Court, Pulukwane, Mulaudzi being corrupt, and the master Josana being corrupt, and a colleague called Tladi being corrupt. And when you listen to what was raised there, one, they allege that the current acting chief master is assistant chief master. There's no such rank in the Department of Justice of an assistant chief master. And they go on to allege that Ms. Tadi is the chief master. Ms. Tadi is not a chief master. She's an official responsible to receive complaints wherein people would escalate their matters if they are not happy with the decisions that were taken by the offices. And I must state on record, Ms. Ntsiki, to say, we have a moral responsibility as the Master's Office to protect the information of the people. We can't just allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanting to, of course, due to POPIA and many other laws, wanting to get information that we are not authorized to give to the people. And if a person of interest walks to the Master's Office and say, I'm so and so, I'm the surviving spouse, I'm the creditor, I'm the parent, I'm the child, I'm the beneficiary, the master is bound to entertain that person. But it becomes a very difficult task when somebody who has no authority goes to the master and wants the master to give or to issue him with the records. I find it completely unacceptable to do that. And the law says any person who's aggrieved by the decision that was taken by the master in terms of Section 95 of the Administration of Estate Act, that person has the right to approach the judicial institution for adjudication. And then the judicial institution would either set aside the decision of the master or vary the decision of the master. And when the master receives the judgment, which says, on such a matter, you were wrong in terms of the law, then the master would comply. You see, we live in a democratic constitutional republic in South Africa, and there are processes that people should follow if they are not happy. And you might have seen the department has issued the statement regarding episode 42, and I would not want to dwell much into 42, episode 42. Part of me being here is to educate our people. Currently, we are going to have the Wales Week starting from the 15th to the 19th. And we have a responsibility as the master. All the master's office would be having activities in conjunction with the LPC, with the legal aid. The people of South Africa would want to have the wills. You know that sometimes drafting a will it's a process that involves resources. But from the 15th up to the 19th, people can be able to go to various places, and they would be assisted by the institutions that would be involved. The legal aid would be there, and the LPC to draft the wills for free. That is one of the reasons why we are here, because sometimes it's not necessary for us to begin to want to address all issues which are not necessary. But it must be on record that the master cannot just dispatch the information to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. When you go to the master's office to request the information, you must have locus standi. If you claim that you are representing Ntsiki, then you must have the power of attorney. Then you must be a legal practitioner. You can't just wake up. Tomorrow you would then have Mulaudzi waking up to want the information related to the Ntsiki's family. And would that be acceptable? The answer is no. Then the master or the department would be on the wrong side of the law if we do that. Hence, we are saying, if there has been any wrongdoing on the part of the master, there are processes that needs to be followed. And I can tell you, the allegations that were raised, they are incorrect. All the things that are being raised there, like there is an issue of saying the wife is born in 87, this and that. And those are incorrect information. We do have the file. Unfortunately, we cannot publish the file of that family because we have got moral responsibility to protect that family. And whoever is aggrieved, there are proper channels to be followed. We do not litigate in the court of public domain or the court of podcast or the court of social media. We follow the proper procedure because we live in South Africa. South Africa is a constitutional republic. And when people are not happy with the decisions that were taken or administrative processes that were taken, then they must approach the court. There's a nice Latin word that we use in the master. We call it functus officio, which means if the master has taken an administrative duty and made a decision, the next forum would be for that particular person to approach the court to challenge what the master has decided on.
You know, I must say, the fact that you guys did not threaten lawsuits and all that drama was very mature and very, it gives us faith in the system, because a lot of people just run to that and then there's no learning process that happens, because now we've just used the legal processes. And also I feel as if sometimes people actually abuse that process. So in line with what was said, Dr. Josana, I can see you were aggrieved, and I want to understand how you feel about what I'm saying about how the department has approached this, and do you feel as if you would want to sue Ubandile for the comments that he made?
Thank you very much, Sister Ntsiga. You know, people don't know about the processes of the master, first of all. So they make allegations, many allegations, when they are aggrieved about something. For instance, in that episode, Bandile mentions that we are creating fake husbands and fake wives. And that is not true. When an estate is registered at the Master of the High Court, we receive documents from family members like death notice, ID copies, and other documents and other forms that must be completed. And then we receive marriage certificates, death certificates from the Office of the Home Affairs. We are not issuing death certificate and marriage certificates. So we cannot be able to just create a marriage, because there is an office that is responsible for issuing marriage certificates and other certificates that are needed in the Master of the High Court. Yes, I understood that. I was not happy when he said so, because the public, the general public, believed him. And then I saw on TikTok the comments of the people about the masters. For instance, in the estate, the estate he refers to was registered online, and is a matter of a person who hails from Stakesprit. Stakesprit is under our jurisdiction. For instance, in a matter where the value of the estate is 250,000 and less, a person is allowed to go to the magistrate's office if there's no will or the estate is not insolvent. So magistrates' offices work with us, you see. So in that episode, he mentions that Tata, Master's Office Tata, and he mentions my name, Simon Josane, a lot of times. And then Magistrate's Office, State Spirit, are corrupt. We are abusing minor children who are eating money that is belonging to minor children who are vulnerable. It's not true. We protect the interests of vulnerable people like minor children. So I didn't think about suing at that time. And I can't say I'm going to sue or what is going to happen. What is important now is that to educate people about the processes of the Master of the High Court, what we do, what is the real story, you see. That is what is important. For instance, we do go out to people and conduct outreach programs and teach them about the services of the Master. But some, when they are aggrieved, they won't understand. They will just make allegations to the to the public.
Okay, so what would make Abantu feel that the master's officers are making side hustles out of their work? Like, why would that? Because they say where there's smoke, there's fire. So why would they accuse masters of doing side hustles?
No, one of the problems, some of the estates take long to finalize, not because of the master's offices, because maybe there is conflict among family members, they are fighting. Maybe the people who are assisting them are not doing things speedily. And that can maybe result from the people who need to help to be helped, because sometimes they don't cooperate. They will think that maybe we are corrupt. I don't have any evidence of corruption. We are doing our work. We have got processes that need to be followed, and we are following to those processes strictly. So when they are aggrieved, they can make any allegations, like in that episode where we're viewed as very corrupt, and then we're untouchable. We don't report to anybody, we report to ourselves.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
actually to say that if who are grieved and it's feeling like there's a problem with the master,
There is the office of the chief master where you can lodge your complaint, and then it's a process that the master will contact the master's office about that complaint, and then we'll explain and then address the problem. So that's how it goes.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else. Is there anything else you wanted to tackle from that episode?
Yeah, perhaps maybe we need to put it on record, Menziki, to say, as the department, if we begin to go around suing the people who are leveling the wrong allegations to the employees, people might lose faith in the branch and the department. And when you are given powers to lead a certain office, you are leading the office with all the issues that might come to that office. You cannot go and begin to sue people. It's the right of people to go on social media. We live in a secular republic. We were informed that we're going to be taken to social medias. If we do not do ABC, then we'll be taken to social medias. Can you stop a person from doing that? You can't. People have the right to go and spread whatever they want to spread, but $1 million question is the information that they are spreading to South African factual? And in this case, the information is not factual, it's factually incorrect. It will not be necessary for us to begin to unpack each and everything that was said on the episode 42. But I think we have tried our level best to explain the position of the department and the position of the branch as the master's office. And we must understand that maybe sometimes there might be issues here and there. And if you advise a person to approach a proper institution to lodge a complaint, like in this case, people were advised to approach the court, and they chose to litigate in social media platforms. Can you stop that? You can't. People always prefer to use social medias or any other form to spread whatever they want to spread. And in the process, are they solving the problems? The answer is no. If what was said in episode 42, the people have followed the proper processes, have approached the court would have decided on the matter. And when the court decide on the matter, then the master would abide by the court decision. It's wrong for people to expect the master's office to deviate from what is expected of them, which is to interpret the law as it is and not to enact the law. Because if we had actually deviated from what is expected of us, then would be found wanting by the courts. Remember, we have got master's office. Where there's a high court, there's a master's office. And you can imagine if we begin to do our own things, then when we get sued as the department, Nzige would be the first to say, these people are wasting public resources. And that's what we try and avoid at all cost.
I'm seeing Bandiles in the comment section, and he's asking, why is your office reluctant to release the requested documents?
We crafted a letter and we indicated that he must explain his locus standi in the matter, as indicated before. It can't be correct that everybody would go to the offices wanting documents. And maybe to put it on record, we even took it upon ourselves as the office of Polokwane. We crafted a letter to the office of the Chief Information Officer to say to them what documents can be released to these people. And we are still waiting for them to give us direction on how the documents should be released, if they're going to be released or not. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. I don't, Dr. Joseph, is there anything, any parting words, anything you want to?
I just want to mention that September, from the 15th, as Mr. Mulaudzi has mentioned, from the 15th to the 19th is a wills week. It's important that people should draft wills, because when you've got a will, it's easy to administer an estate. We know the heirs you have mentioned, you have nominated. We know what should happen when you die, how your estate will devolve. You see, the problem in the village is people don't draft wills, most of them. That is what we have noticed. Their estate go intestate. We encourage people to draft wills. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, this was very helpful, especially for us people on the ground. And we're hoping, like we said earlier on, that you will be able to communicate with us more, maybe use the podcast platform so that there is a communication stream between the government and the people on the ground. And maybe that's where the national dialogue actually is. It's with the communication structures. Oh, okay, but there's one more question, sorry. What happens if both parents are both deceased, having properties in two different provinces, and the children want the properties to be transferred to them? Where should they go?
What determines the jurisdiction, it's where the deceased was residing 12 months before death. if the properties are in two different provinces, I come from Limpopo, and the other property is in KwaZulu-Natal. Upon my death, then my estate must be reported in Limpopo, where I come from. Or alternatively, the family can request the Master of High Court in Limpopo to relinquish the jurisdiction to KwaZulu-Natal, depending on the circumstances of the matter. It doesn't matter where the properties are. What matters is that the estate is reported, and the 12 months prior to death would determine where the estate is reported.
And then lastly, what's going to happen with the communications between Ubandile, Makibili, and yourselves? Because it's just becoming messy. Is there a way that you guys are going to be able to speak and resolve the issues?
I would advise, because it's not the first time, I'm referring to myself. In the previous years, he circulated something on Facebook that if one is not married, dies unmarried, and then someone wants a marriage certificate, that person must approach myself and one Mr. Mjeza at the magistrate's office, Stakesprit. What I would advise Bandile to do, if he has got a problem with any matter in any office, he should approach first the head of office of that office. He can phone. If he has to travel to that office, he can travel. For instance, from Stakesprit to Mtata, he can travel there and then meet me and then get what he would like to be done. Because now he is assisting people who don't know anything about the administration of estates. And then these people believe what he says. We are there to help all people. So he should communicate with us and then we'll explain everything to him.
Thank you so much. We feel much better as people on the ground. That thank you for taking the time to come to MOYA podcast to unpack actually what the issues are so that we understand, and then to help us learn how to use this system that's built for us, because it is better if we understand how and the processes. So we really thank you for making time for this educator. And then to people watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, we're out at the Department of Justice. Thank you so much for coming through, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you so much. Remember to like,